Hisui provided her with a new herbal remedy. After a moment of doubt, she ultimately found the bravery to inquire if he genuinely had feelings for her. In reply, Hisui softly grasped her hand and revealed, candidly acknowledging his emotions for her. To his astonishment, Shin Shifan declined his proposal, stating that she was preparing to study overseas and preferred not to enter a long-distance relationship. A sudden weight pressed upon his heart. Without uttering another word, he just left the herbal remedy with her and walked off. Shin Shifan returned home with the medicine, immediately facing a barrage of questions from her parents regarding her relationship with Hisui. Upon discovering that she had turned him down, they were stunned and thought it was unfortunate. That afternoon, Hisui was informed by the hospital administration that after thorough discussions, they had chosen to stop the research on the breast cancer project. Despite feeling profoundly disappointed, Hisui could only show outward acceptance of their choice. That evening, Shin Shifan went outside for some fresh air but unexpectedly encountered Hisui, who had just completed working late. Searching for a reason, she hurried back upstairs, steering clear of more dialogue. Hisui later texted her, suggesting she cut some ginger and prepare ginger tea if she had any at home. Nonetheless, Shin Shifan remained silent. The following day, Shin Shifan unexpectedly got an official offer for her study abroad program. With the Lunar New Year drawing near, Hixing reached out to his son, Hisui, to inquire when he planned to return home for the celebration. In the meantime, Su Xiangya went to a bar with Shin Shifan, suggesting that she should not confine herself to the belief that studying abroad precluded her from having a relationship. Encountering someone who truly cares about you is not simple, she mentioned. If she continued to push love aside, she could regret it later on. With the Lunar New Year nearing, Hisui boarded a flight to return to his hometown, carrying presents for his family and friends. Following just a couple of short conversations with his father, he remained silent and relaxed in a guest room on the first floor for the moment. The following morning, Hisui found it hard to resist glancing at Shin Shifan's social media updates, a subtle smile forming on his lips. At the same time, the hotel hosting Shin Shifan buzzed with animated conversations as her co-workers came together to prepare dumplings, share laughs, and capture pictures. On New Year's Eve, Shin Shifan's family organized a banquet. Following dinner, they shared New Year's wishes with their friends. Suddenly, Shin Shifan got a holiday message from Yan Heng, which caused her to hurriedly remove him from her contacts. In the meantime, Zhao Zhe texted Hisui, requesting him to send his New Year's wishes to Shin Shifan. Shin Shifan was too absorbed in watching television with her parents to see the message. Following several rounds of drinks, Hixing encouraged Hisui to establish a family before prioritizing his career. He also mentioned that Hisui's research project was halted, reproaching him once more for deviating from the trajectory he had established in cardiothoracic surgery and opting to explore traditional Chinese medicine instead. Hisui was very unhappy, ironically noting that Hixing had already found success and started a new family, so why act as if he cared about bringing him home for the new year? Hixing was rendered voiceless. That evening, Hisui video called his grandfather, Yu Liren, and they shared New Year's greetings. Upon hearing that his grandfather still recalled his birthday, a date that even Hixing had overlooked, Hisui felt a sudden rush of emotion in his nose. Shin Shifan eventually saw Hisui's message. She first wrote a formal and detached New Year's message but later deemed it too impersonal. Upon reflection, she just sent him an adorable emoji instead. In that instant, Hisui contacted her. Noticing a trace of loneliness in his tone, Shin Shifan grew slightly anxious, and they engaged in a somewhat uncomfortable yet heartfelt conversation. Prior to ending the call, they offered each other blessings again, but neither wanted to hang up. Abruptly, Shin Shifan remembered that it was the birthday of Hisui. She swiftly employed a Swiss roll to create an easy birthday cake, lit a candle, and sang happy birthday to him. She instructed Hisui to make a wish and blow toward the screen, while she, for him, extinguished the candle, celebrating his birthday together despite being apart. Profoundly touched, Hisui expressed to her that he would return on the third day of the new year. Hearing this, Shin Shifan smiled, and the two embraced the last moments before the new year with the sounds of fireworks outside. The following morning, Hsi gathered his medical supplies and, skipping breakfast, rode his bicycle to offer complimentary medical advice to the seniors in the neighborhood. Hsi refrained from interfering significantly in his son's choice. As Hsi walked past a home, he spotted some red beans available for purchase. He purchased a bag, brought it home, cleaned and dried it, and after it was completely dry, kept it in glass jars. He ultimately made multiple jars of red beans, intending to take them back to Shifan when he returned on the third day of the new year. On the third day of the new year, Hsi gathered his belongings and got ready to head back to Hangzhou. Immediately after he descended the stairs, he noticed the young boy Wang Chang, who appeared noticeably anxious and unsettled. Noticing Wang Chang's sensible and well-mannered behavior, Hsi felt his heart warm and decided to take the initiative to present him with a red envelope. Upon Nurse Wang's recommendation, Hsi decided to take the lead in bidding farewell to his son and observed him as he entered the car and drove away. Upon returning to Hangzhou, Hsi promptly messaged Shifan, citing the reason of inquiring about a birthday present to summon her downstairs. He then provided her with 2 jars of red beans and several medicinal recipes featuring red beans. Later, Hsi visited his grandfather, disclosing that his father, Hixing, had a girlfriend, and they appeared to share a strong bond. Even though Yu Liren sympathized with his daughter, he recognized that the events from that time had occurred long ago. It was time to move on, and at his father's age, it was typical to seek a partner. Grasping Yu Liren's sentiments, Hsi resolved that he would henceforth visit annually to celebrate the new year with his grandfather and mother. Upon getting back home, Shifan shared her choice with her parents, and they both backed her. In the meantime, Grandma Lu, who was lodging at the hotel, unexpectedly experienced a health incident. Luckily, a member of the cleaning staff promptly located Shifan. Even though Grandma Lu thought it was merely an old condition flaring up, Shifan urged her to visit the hospital for an examination. She also stated that she was acquainted with a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, which ultimately persuaded Grandma Lu to attempt it. Immediately after, Shifan messaged Hsi to seek advice and set up an appointment for Grandma Lu's visit to the traditional Chinese medicine hospital. Shortly afterward, Shifan went with Grandma Lu to Hsi's clinic. As their gazes locked, electricity crackled. Upon inquiring about Grandma Lu's symptoms, Hsi observed that the CT scans were slightly unclear, so he requested Fan Kursen to assist her with a retake. In the presence of Hsi, Shifan paused, contemplating whether she should reveal her choice to postpone her enrollment. Noticing something, Hsi proactively inquired about her academic plans overseas. Upon discovering that she wouldn't depart until October, he felt distressed that she had concealed this from him. Following the examination, Grandma Lu asked with curiosity about the connection between Shifan and Hsi. She sensed that something was surely happening between them. Grandma Lu explained to Shifan that occasionally individuals believe they are resolute in their choices, thinking they won't be swayed by others, yet their genuine emotions can't be concealed. The following morning, Shifan took out a picture and inquisitively asked Lin Yishan and Su Shangya about their connection. Ultimately, they had no option but to acknowledge that they were in a relationship. During this period, both had accepted numerous aspects and ultimately faced their genuine emotions. Su Shangya even considered quitting and exploring a different direction in life after Shifan departed for her education overseas. In the evening, Shifan got a message from Hsi, which contained 2 images. When Shifan searched for Hsi, she found him sitting on a bench, thoroughly intoxicated. He expressed his frustration that she came too late and that he had consumed all the alcohol alone. In his inebriated condition, Hsi likewise charged Shifan with being unfeeling, claiming she had drawn him in only to release him, displaying a lack of accountability. Shifan felt powerless at his statements. Somehow, she had turned into the one who manipulated feelings and then left him. Fearing he could get ill, she had to take him home herself. Yet, as soon as Hsi shut his door, his gaze instantly sharpened. He wasn't inebriated at all. In the meantime, Shifan felt disturbed by his comments. The following morning, while observing her father make fish soup, she found herself remembering Hsi's remark about fishing. A slight smile formed on her lips, and she took a picture, sending it to Hisui as her homework submission. Hisui kept gazing at the photo, filled with joy, only to be playfully teased by his grandfather, Yu Liren. As Hisui awaited Shin Shifan to resolve the ongoing problem concerning Yan Heng unexpectedly arrived at the hotel. Shin Shifan was stunned and experienced a blend of feelings, yet she had to concentrate on her responsibilities. Later, Yan Heng showed up in the hotel lobby carrying a big bunch of roses. Grudgingly, Shin Shifan met with Yan Heng and had to accept the roses. The front desk employees observed the exchange and quickly recognized that Yan Heng was the former boyfriend of Shin Shifan. Yan Heng meant to ask her to his room for a confidential talk regarding their relationship. Nevertheless, Shin Shifan, enraged, promptly tossed the roses at him. Upon hearing his efforts to explain himself and his proposal for reconciliation, Shin Shifan dismissed him without hesitation. Due to Yan Heng's presence, Shin Shifan felt very anxious once again. She endured sleeplessness all night and faced terrifying dreams. Upon waking, her face was drenched in tears. Gazing at the message that Hisui sent her, she could only manage a forced smile in her response. Early the following morning, Shin Shifan reached the hotel for her shift and discovered the roses and note that Yan Heng had left for her. She promptly tossed them into the garbage. She subsequently prepared red bean water, snapped a photo, and forwarded it to Hisui as her homework submission. She believed Yan Heng wouldn't appear again, but as she and her coworkers exited the hotel, they saw Yan Heng at the entrance, using the same old tactic, publicly asking her to dinner. While in the car, she inhaled the fragrance of the scented sachet that Hisui had prepared for her, which instantly piqued Yan Heng's interest. She strongly dismissed him. On the return journey, Shin Shifan's anxiety re-emerged. While rummaging through her bag, she noticed that she had forgotten the sachet in Yan Heng's car. Experiencing a headache, she quickly contacted Hisui. Yan Heng, nevertheless, had been stealthily trailing her to the traditional Chinese medicine clinic. Upon noticing the sachet forgotten in his vehicle and piecing everything together, he finally grasped the circumstances. Conversely, Hisui examined Shin Shifan's pulse and speculated that her signs of emotional turmoil likely stemmed from a confrontation with her former boyfriend. At the moment he was checking her, Yan Heng abruptly entered, asserting that he had come to be with his girlfriend and purposely portraying Shin Shifan as merely having a minor fit. Hisui, entirely undeterred by Yan Heng, obstructed his path and instructed him to wait a minimum of 15 minutes until the consultation concluded. Following her encounter with Yan Heng, Hisui rushed outside to embrace Shin Shifan, offering her warm comfort and encouraging her to release the past and concentrate on the present and future. At home, Shin Shifan's parents observed that she appeared gloomy and were concerned that something was amiss. She nonchalantly invented a reason to dismiss their worries. At that moment, Li Jia burst in to declare that their research group's application had been granted. All were excited, their extended efforts had finally borne fruit. Upon hearing the news, Yu Liren genuinely felt joy for Hisui. Once the call ended, Hisui snapped a photo of the view and sent it to Shin Shifan, including the message, "It's a beautiful day today." Once Yan Heng completed his participation in the signing ceremony, he mingled with the crowd and silently signaled to Shin Shifan to join him later. Yan Heng's dad spotted the news and contacted his son. He initially commended the achievements of the signing event but quickly issued a serious caution, advising him to return home promptly and abandon the foolish belief that he could stand against him. While at home, Shin Shifan's parents were browsing their phones when they stumbled upon the news regarding the signing ceremony. At that moment, Yan Heng showed up with his aide, bringing a variety of presents. Upon entering, he expressed regret to the couple, stating that he had been overly concentrated on his career advancement at that time and viewed Shin Shifan as a hindrance to his professional growth, which led him to initiate the breakup. Yet, now that he had established his stability, he promptly returned to pursue reconciliation and was even ready to fund Shin Shifan's education overseas. Nonetheless, Shin Shifan's mother refused to accept his reasoning. As the couple pondered what really occurred in the past, Shin Shifan got home and began to dispute with Yan Heng right away. At that moment, Shin Shifan revealed the true cause of their breakup and highlighted Yan Heng's shamelessness in terminating the relationship on his own. Before Yan Heng had a chance to reply, Hsi unexpectedly walked in from outside, holding neatly arranged medicinal dishes. Adopting the attitude of a prospective son-in-law, he stood guard before Shin Shifan and openly scolded Yan Heng. As Shin Shifan's parents also held a strong position, Yan Heng achieved nothing from his visit and was compelled to depart in disappointment. Shin Shifan shut herself in her room, weeping helplessly while she remembered all that had occurred. Her parents walked into the room and said that regardless of her age, she would always remain their child. They encouraged her not to act like everything was okay merely to prevent them from worrying, reminding her that family would always be her greatest support. Shin Shifan felt significantly improved with the reassurance of her parents and Hisui. The following day, upon reaching the hotel office, Shin Shifan discovered a bottle of perfume and a card left by Yan Heng, indicating that he had custom-made the scent exclusively for her. At that moment, Shin Shifan unexpectedly recognized that she actually disliked the fragrance entirely. Most importantly, she had already developed feelings for Hisui. With this fresh understanding, Shin Shifan rushed to locate Hisui and requested him to create a new scented sachet for her. Noticing that Shin Shifan had something to express, Hisui was ready to reveal his feelings once more when Shin Shifan unexpectedly spoke first. She liked him and desired him to be her boyfriend. Once Hisui acknowledged Shin Shifan's feelings, he took the lead to kiss her. Shin Shifan felt regret for not recognizing her true emotions earlier, but Hisui comforted her, stating that it was still not too late. Upon acknowledging their relationship, the world around them seemed exquisite. The following day at the office, both Shin Shifan and Hisui were radiating joy, clearly indicating to everyone that they were feeling wonderful. The nurses jokingly teased Hisui, inquiring if he had any good news to share. In the same way, Shin Shifan revealed the happy news of her new romance to her close friends. Su Xiangya and Lin Yishan were truly delighted for her. After finishing work, Hisui got a bunch of Shin Shifan's preferred blooms. The two encountered each other outside the apartment complex and started their charming yet uncomplicated love story, strolling hand in hand. Their loving display attracted jealous looks from those walking by. At home, Hisui cooked dinner himself while Shin Shifan prepared the flowers and laid the table. Following dinner, they relaxed on the sofa, viewing a film. Hisui requested Shin Shifan to show him the technique for folding a paper frog. Despite being proficient in various areas, he was utterly awkward at origami, which caused Shin Shifan to chuckle at his attempts. Hisui faked being upset, leading Shin Shifan to comfort him. That evening, Hisui accompanied Shin Shifan to her home and even disclosed the code to his house. Shin Shifan confidently expressed that her time with Hisui brought her genuine happiness, something Yan Heng could never provide. She genuinely hoped for his happiness too. After the bidding process at the technology park concluded, Yan Heng checked out of his hotel and departed Gunanhuading, bringing relief to all. Later, Shin Shifan informed her parents that she had entirely severed ties with Yan Heng. Her parents were in favor of her choice and were eager to invite Hisui for a family dinner soon. Shin Shifan's mother suggested that she shouldn't remain indoors after dinner and took her for a stroll. When Shin Shifan reached out to Hisui for assistance, he intentionally appeared before her parents to create a positive impression. Recognizing the circumstances, her parents discreetly allowed them to have some privacy. The following day, during a pause, Su Xiangya proposed a double date, anticipating a spirited get-together. Shin Shifan promptly accepted, and Su Xiangya even insisted on paying for everything. During the weekend, Shin Shifan, Hisui, Su Xiangya, and Lin Yishan visited the park to enjoy the flowers. Su Xiangya requested Hisui to capture some photos for her, but the outcomes were so dreadful that she instantly dismissed them without compassion. Consequently, she summoned Lin Yishan. As anticipated, his photography abilities received significant acclaim. In the meantime, due to Hisui's lack of photography skills, he ended up being the team's coat rack, assisting with carrying bags and holding objects. Upon arriving home, Shin Shifan shared the photo and video with her parents. Her parents were both extremely happy. They both set the photo as their screensaver. One morning, Shin Shifan knocked on Hisui's door, carrying a big bunch of tulips. Being aware that today marks the anniversary of Hisui's mother's passing, he experienced a profound feeling of thankfulness. Afterward, Hisui and his grandfather went to the cemetery. He informed his mother that he was currently in a relationship and that his research project had advanced significantly. To show gratitude to Shin Shifan, his grandfather requested Hisui to video call her, inviting her and her family to visit the herbal garden for a trip. Shin Shifan quickly accepted and, when she got home, informed her parents about it. The following day, Shin Shifan took her parents to the herbal garden. In the meantime, Shin Shifan and Hisui seemed very compatible, displaying a sweet and affectionate bond like glue. At the hotel, arrangements were being made for an important medical conference, and Hisui was anticipated to join his grandfather and father, heightening the atmosphere with excitement and anticipation. Shin Shifan was glad that Hisui and grandfather were visiting her job. At the conference, Shin Shifan seized the moment to quietly invite him to a private conversation away from the crowd. Once the conference concluded, Swan waited outside the hall, inquiring when she would complete her work. He unexpectedly moved closer to her, but she promptly established a limit, requesting that he keep at least 10 m away from her while she worked, which caused him to grin before she resumed her duties. That evening, Sui's father chose to remain at the hotel because the conference was extending for another day. Shin Shifan chose to look after him and see how he was doing. When he inquired about her connection with his son, she said that Hisui was her boyfriend, and he appeared pleased, although slightly taken aback by the contrast in their occupations. He couldn't conceal his admiration for her, particularly after observing her gentle and unpretentious nature. The following day, Hisui delivered a significant presentation discussing cancer and its therapies. He stood assuredly in front of everyone as Shin Shifan observed him with pride from the crowd. Once his presentation concluded, the audience burst into applause. When he got back to his seat, Tao gave him something, stating it was a present from one of his fans. He didn't have to speculate. He recognized at once that it was a painting. He was eager to see her, so he hurried out of the room and embraced her happily, and she responded in kind. Nonetheless, she quickly understood they were in a professional setting, prompting her to step back right as they noticed his father passing by. His relationship with his father was not great, so she motivated him to talk to him. Gathering his courage, Hisui shouted for his father and requested him to join for dinner prior to his leaving. His father vowed to set aside time for him, and she quickly added that she would handle all the arrangements herself. Hisui's father appeared satisfied with her remarks, recognizing the beneficial impact she had on his son. That evening, they came together for a modest family dinner with Hisui's grandfather and father. It was evident that this was a chance for his father to learn more about Shin Shifan. Upon arriving home, Hisui retrieved an old bracelet and promptly placed it in Shin Shifan's hand. He promised her that his mother had advised him to save it for the girl he genuinely loved. He felt completely certain within himself. That weekend, Shin Shifan's parents went on a short trip to the countryside, leaving her home alone. The next day, she accidentally forgot her house key and decided to wait at Hisui's place, sending a message to her friend Su Xianya to bring the spare key. When Su Xianya heard about it, she teased Shin Shifan, saying she might as well just move in with Hisui. Playing along with the joke, Shin Shifan pretended that Su Xianya didn't have the spare key either. Left with no other option, she shyly asked Hisui if she could take a shower at his place. Before she knew it, she was wearing his pajamas, which ultimately resulted in him drying her hair himself, relishing each moment shared with her. The following morning, she arose still feeling drowsy. He playfully mocked her about the extent of her sleep, joking that she had rested enough the previous night, but rather than replying verbally, she opted for a more straightforward tactic, a swift slap that rendered him speechless. Sheen began her day as normal, going to the bathroom to clean her teeth. But Hisui couldn't help but feel drawn to her presence. He embraced her softly and then said they should head out to purchase some home essentials. They went out together to get what they required, and Shin Shifan even seized the chance to switch the type of shampoo at his place since she disliked the scent of the one he owned. On their journey home, they encountered her family. They inquired about their destination, and before she could formulate a suitable response, the words escaped her lips. She informed them that they were purchasing pajamas and home goods. Their expressions revealed unmistakable astonishment. Upon her arrival at her family's home, they playfully barred her from entering. They advised her to return and stay over at his place once more. While Shin Shifan was sorting her visa documents, she unexpectedly found a bank card for her educational expenses tucked away in her mother's drawer, which moved her profoundly. At the same time, Shin Shifan's mother had just finished her medical checkup but came back home feeling downcast. The results of the breast examination were discouraging, but she intentionally decided to conceal them from her family and stored the report in the kitchen. Silently, Shin Shifan's mother visited the hospital by herself to seek advice from Hisui. After going through the report, Hisui reassured her, advising her not to be overly concerned while suggesting additional investigation. At first, Hisui meant to inform Shin Shifan about it but decided to erase the message after a moment of doubt. The subsequent report verified a breast tumor, necessitating a biopsy or pathology test to establish if it was benign or malignant. Hisui attempted to comfort her, stressing that treatments exist for all ailments and that surgery could succeed, but he urged her to be honest with her husband and Shin Shifan. Nevertheless, her mother chose not to inform her daughter and opted to confront the issue solely with her husband, wishing to spare Shin Shifan any distress, as she was her most treasured possession. As soon as her husband learned of it, he promptly began organizing the surgery, choosing to keep everything concealed so she wouldn't discover it for the time being. What she was unaware of was that at that exact moment, her mother was getting ready for surgery. On the day of the procedure, Hisui was present at the hospital and requested the nurse to look after them well since they were his loved one's family. Following the procedure, the doctor emerged to share the news, but it wasn't what they had wished for. He indicated that the tumor may have advanced further and that the only option could be a total mastectomy. At the same time, Shin Shifan was experiencing deep sadness. She realized that her family hadn't inquired about her for days and wondered if they might have completely forgotten her. Following the procedure, the doctor emerged to share the news, but it wasn't what they had wished for. At that time, Shin Shifan was resting at home. Upon his return late that night, she stirred and inquired about his prolonged absence. He mentioned to her that he had been occupied with work and swiftly attempted to shift the topic by inquiring if she had had breakfast before proposing that he could prepare something for her to eat. The following day, she reached her ultimate choice regarding travel and went to her job to present her resignation, beginning to get ready for the departure. At the hospital, her mother completed the surgery, but needed a drainage bag put in to avoid infection. But events unfolded differently. While they were exiting the hospital, an unforeseen event occurred. At that precise moment, Shin Shifan was walking into the building. She witnessed them herself and instantly recalled what her father mentioned about their absence for a few days. She also noticed that Swan had been behaving oddly preoccupied recently. She immediately contacted Hisui and insisted on meeting him at the hospital without delay. Feeling very tense while sitting, she faced him immediately when he got there, demanding that he be honest and truthful. He had to confess it, as there was no chance he could trick her any longer. She was astonished he had hidden this from her all along, particularly since he understood precisely what it meant for a family to endure such suffering. He had experienced it previously when his mother suffered from the same disease, and he witnessed her passing right before his eyes. Still, in spite of that, he concealed the reality from her, which only intensified her anger. He knew he couldn't defend himself because she was correct. He ought not to have hidden something like this from her, even if he aimed to safeguard her. Simultaneously, he honored her mother's desire to maintain its confidentiality. As she reflected in solitude, she understood she may have been overly harsh on him. She chose to approach him and express her regret for her words. She said she would handle the professional issues while she would concentrate on caring for her mother. He informed her that he believed she wasn't wrong in any way. He attempted to clarify that he hadn't meant to conceal information from her out of dishonesty, but rather because he was obligated by patient confidentiality and her mother had requested him not to inform her until the medical report was released. Upon returning home and seeing her mother, Shen Shifan realized they were attempting to conceal the medications from her. However, she informed them that she was already aware of her mother's condition after visiting her at the hospital. At that moment, her gaze focused on the drainage bag, and she was unable to hold back her tears. For the first time, she genuinely sensed how difficult this situation was. Her visa arrived quickly, but she chose to ignore it and opted not to travel. She didn't inform her Sui about her choice, but he soon realized it upon seeing the visa and noticing the level of attention she was directing to her mother during lunch. She was handling her like a young child, looking after her more than she looked after herself. Afterward, as they sat together, he informed her that he was aware the visa had come and inquired why she had kept it a secret from him. However, she didn't have to clarify too much. It was evident that she no longer desired to travel and believed her place was alongside her mother until she healed. Nonetheless, he did not concur with her choice. He comforted her by saying that he and her father were supporting her mother and that her mother was getting better, which meant she could still chase her dream. Following much contemplation, she ultimately made the decision to leave and began to pack her luggage as her flight was scheduled for the next day. She informed Hisui that she preferred he not accompany her to the airport, claiming he would be busy at the hospital, but in truth, she simply couldn't handle saying goodbye to him. Nonetheless, he made sure she didn't go without leaving something for her. He tucked a tiny note inside her bag, urging her to take her medicine and eat properly. Upon discovering it, she was unable to hold back her tears. She rushed over to him, and upon seeing him, she embraced him tightly without hesitation. His reaction was one of surprise, but she clarified that she had been attempting to dismiss the thought of departing. His note surprised her and made her realize how deeply she would miss him, but he comforted himself by believing they would communicate daily, chatting via messages and video calls. The following day, her family accompanied her to the airport to bid farewell. However, what she didn't anticipate was that Hisui would arrive at the final moment to bid farewell too. He couldn't go without seeing her, even if it was only for a brief moment before she left. As time passed, he became acquainted with the nuances of her everyday existence, even from a distance, and could speculate on her whereabouts, whether she was attending class or occupied with her tasks. In exchange, he maintained his support for her family and continued his regular duties at the hospital. An entire year went by, and one day, Swan had a video call with her, inquiring when she would return since her studies were finished. However, he observed her pause for a few moments before she mentioned that she had received a 2-month internship at a hotel, an opportunity she felt she must take, which is what made her consider extending her stay. Even with his sadness, he informed her that he had been patient for a year and that waiting 2 more months wouldn't be hard. After the 2 months were over, Swan found herself at the airport, excitedly anticipating her arrival. The moment she spotted him, she jumped into his arms, but he chose to playfully tease her in his unique manner. He acted as if he didn't recognize her and stated that he had been waiting for his partner. She understood his behavior stemmed from his dissatisfaction with her prolonged absence. Yet all she could do was smile, sensing how deeply he longed for her before he brought her to her family's home for them to enjoy some time together. Later, he would return to collect her after completing his work. One day, as the snow softly descended, and asked her to be with him for all of her days. He could no longer endure the idea of being separated from her, and he had anticipated this moment for a long time. Thus, their adventure concluded with a joyful wedding celebration abundant in love and bliss. If you enjoy this recap, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. Thanks for watching.